Brittney Griner thought she could get away with her controversial comments about Caitlin Clark, but Indiana Governor Braun just dropped a bombshell that has the entire WNBA scrambling.
Brittney Griner may have thought her controversial remarks would blow over, but reality hit hard when Indiana Governor Mike Braun stepped in and turned up the heat. In a dramatic turn of events, the WNBA is now facing mounting political pressure after the league's apparent double standard in dealing with fabricated racism allegations against Indiana Fever fans, while simultaneously brushing off serious concerns involving Griner herself. What started as a viral video and a few sharp words has now spiraled into a scandal that could change how the WNBA handles player accountability, and it's not looking good for Griner, the spark that lit the fire. The controversy erupted when Brittney Griner was caught on video making remarks that many interpreted as an insult aimed directly at Caitlin Clark.
Brittney Griner elbowing Caitlin Clark in a crazy way and then calling her a trash white girl.
And Brittney Griner has not commented, which I find significant. I've watched that video countless times, and it sure looks like Brittney Griner says, white girl.
The clip, which spread like wildfire on social media, had fans convinced that Griner referred to Clark using disparaging and possibly racially charged language. Her defenders argued she was targeting the referee, not Clark. But if that's the case, many wondered, why didn't Griner clarify the comments herself? Why did the WNBA stay silent? The lack of transparency raised red flags. Normally, when any kind of allegation, especially one involving hate speech or controversial behavior, surfaces in the WNBA, the league is quick to react. But this time, there was no official response, no investigation, no comment. It was as if the league had suddenly developed selective hearing. Meanwhile, the Fever fans were under the microscope. While Griner was seemingly getting a free pass, Indiana Fever fans found themselves under scrutiny after the Fever dominated the Chicago Sky, despite Caitlin Clark not even playing in the game. Rumors began to circulate that Indiana fans hurled racist slurs at Angel Reese and other players. The WNBA launched an official investigation.
She accused the Indiana Fever fan base of being racist. They investigated it. They said those accusations were false. The least that she could do is apologize to our great state and the fans that show up at these games and say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Obviously, she's not going to do that. But also, Dan, why isn't the Indiana Fever apologizing to their own fan base for putting them through that, for going through those types of accusations? I mean, those are awful accusations. They weren't true. The fans weren't shouting racial slurs toward Angel Reese or opposing players. I mean, where is Caitlin Clark? Where is the Indiana Fever? Where is the WNBA saying that investigation there shouldn't have been an investigation? The allegations were false. Where's the apology? It hasn't happened. It's disappointing. As someone who is, my daughters are fans of the team. They've gone to games to see Caitlin Clark. It's so demeaning to our state and to the fan base to go through something like that. The least they can do.
But when the dust settled, the league found no evidence to support the allegations. Still, no apology came. Not from the WNBA, not from the Chicago Sky, not even from Angel Reese. The Indiana Fever remained silent too. And for the thousands of loyal fans who support the team and fill the stands game after game, that silence was deafening. Governor Braun speaks out. Enter Governor Mike Braun. In a series of pointed public statements, Braun not only defended the people of Indiana and Caitlin Clark, but also demanded accountability. He called out the WNBA's blatant bias and questioned why the league was so quick to investigate baseless claims, yet entirely ignored legitimate concerns.
Sell out crowds every time Caitlin Clark plays. It's so great for Indiana, but it's good for the WNBA. But how dare you accuse our fans, the Hoosiers that show up at these games, being racist when they're not? I mean, that was an opposing player who hates Caitlin Clark. Frankly, it's a great rivalry for the teams and for the sport. But don't accuse our fans of being racist. I mean, that's the kind of garbage that gets thrown around all the time. It wasn't true. The investigation proved it, and there was no outcome of it. There was no apology. Apologize to the fans. I mean, that's a simple thing to do, and I wish the team would have been more emphatic about that. Stand up, stick up for your fan base. I mean, that's who's keeping you alive. So maybe they'll still do that. I don't know. I mean, I tweeted that Angel Reese
Braun wasn't just speaking as a politician, he was speaking as a father of daughters who support the Fever, and as someone who understands the cultural and economic significance of Caitlin Clark's presence in Indiana. The least Griner could do is apologize to our great state and the fans, Braun said, clearly frustrated. Why hasn't the Indiana Fever stood up for their fan base? Why hasn't the WNBA apologized for pursuing false accusations? And he didn't stop there. Braun directly addressed the viral video, suggesting that the league should take a serious look at what was said and who said it. In doing so, he put the WNBA on notice. No longer would biased investigations and selective accountability fly under the radar, not when real political consequences were now on the table. The double standard exposed. The Griner-Clark controversy reveals a deeper issue, a systemic double standard in how the WNBA handles its players. Caitlin Clark, arguably the most transformative rookie the league has ever seen.
Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever are the best gift that the WNBA has ever had. I mean, and the fans that show up and pack that place, I mean, sell out crowds every time Caitlin Clark plays. It's so great for Indiana, but it's good for the WNBA.
Is under a microscope. Every minor interaction, every facial expression, and every misstep is analyzed and criticized. Meanwhile, veteran players like Griner, long protected by the league's internal hierarchy, appear to operate with impunity. When Clark is fouled hard, the narrative often shifts to whether she deserved it. When someone allegedly insults her on camera, the league shrugs it off. But when fake racism allegations are leveled against her fan base, the WNBA springs into action. This disparity is not just unfair, it's damaging. It creates a toxic environment where certain players are villainized and others are shielded from criticism no matter what they do. It also discourages accountability, sending a message that bad behavior will be ignored if you're on the right side of the league's politics. Caitlin Clark's impact. What makes this situation even more pressing is Caitlin Clark's enormous impact on the WNBA. Since entering the league, she has been a driving force behind surging attendance numbers and national attention. Gainbridge Fieldhouse sells out when she plays, and local businesses in Indiana are seeing a boost thanks to her presence. She's revitalized interest in women's basketball, not just for Indiana, but for the league as a whole. Governor Braun understands this. That's why he's taken such a strong stand. He knows Clark isn't just an athlete, she's an asset. And attacking her or her supporters without evidence isn't just harmful, it's self-destructive for the league. The pressure is building. Governor Braun isn't alone. Senator Jim Banks has also called for the WNBA to issue an apology to Indiana Fever fans. This isn't grandstanding. It's an urgent demand for accountability and fairness. These aren't fringe voices. They're elected officials speaking on behalf of an outraged public. The message is clear. The WNBA can no longer afford to protect certain players while throwing others under the bus. If they continue to do so, they risk losing public trust, media credibility, and possibly even financial support. For Griner, the fallout may be just beginning. If the WNBA does bow to political and public pressure and opens an investigation into her remarks, the outcome could be significant. At best, it forces her to clarify and perhaps apologize. At worst, it tarnishes her legacy and highlights how deeply rooted the league's biases have become. Where do we go from here? The WNBA is at a crossroads. The league has the opportunity to prove that it values fairness and transparency over favoritism in politics. But to do that, it must address the growing chorus demanding equal treatment, especially when real concerns are being ignored in favor of protecting reputations.
Everyone deserves the right to play. Everyone deserves the right to come here, sit in these seats, and feel safe and not feel like there's a threat or they can't be who they are. Definitely will be speaking up against that legislation and those laws that are trying to be passed, for sure.
Political agendas or media narratives shouldn't undermine Clark's continued success and the loyalty of Indiana fans. The league owes it to its fans and to its future to ensure that every player and every supporter is treated with respect. Until then, the shadow of this controversy will loom large over the WNBA. And suppose Brittney Griner was hoping to move past her remarks unnoticed. In that case, she might want to rethink that strategy. Because with state officials, national media, and millions of fans watching closely, the days of double standards might finally be numbered. What do you think about the governor's shocking claim? Is there more to the Caitlin Clark controversy than we know? And is Brittney Griner's reaction justified? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss the latest updates. Until next time, stay informed and stay bold.